Hi. Look, one thing you need to know about me is I am shamelessly in love with the Vampire Diaries, and that's not just because it's full of hot people, okay? Because yes, it is cast to the brim with hot people. It's also just like a really great story. I very much enjoy the fun, twisty roller coaster of the Vampire Diaries where no one can ever be happy for 10 minutes. It's an overly dramatic, extremely tragic drama that is filled with amazing storylines, compelling mysteries, interesting character growth, and hot people. So many hot people. Oh, and did I even mention there's vampires too? That the vampire lore is like super complex and really interesting. Oh, I didn't mention that yet? Well, yeah, I guess you'll have to see, huh? At first, it might seem like your classic teenage vampire romance novel, but nay, this story goes far beyond a teenage vampire romance. I already made a video about the pilot episode of the Vampire Diaries, going in depth on the intro of the show. I'm gonna briefly go over it, but if you want like more fun little details, there's a whole other video about just the pilot episode. Anyway, the Vampire Diaries is great. The Vampire Diaries is awesome. Let's talk about it. In the pilot episode, we're introduced to pretty much all of our main characters. More characters will be added, subtracted, changed, removed, swapped around. But in the pilot episode, we're gonna meet our core group of folks. We've got Elena, our leading lady. Elena is like your classic sad girl. She's super sad because her parents died, and that's basically one of her main personality traits this season. But she's like super strong and beautiful, and all she needs is a perfect vampire boyfriend to swoop her off her feet and make her feel happy again. A tale as old as time. Elena has a younger brother named Jeremy, who's like the sweetest kid to ever live, but is also doing a lot of drugs, which is not great. But he's depressed, okay? He's depressed. So Jeremy and Elena are currently living with their Aunt Jenna, who's their mom's younger sister. Aunt Jenna, she's kind of a young, hip lady, and she is watching over Elena and Jeremy because their parents died. I don't know if you heard about that. We are also introduced to Elena's ex-boyfriend, Matt, and his older sister, Vicky. In my last video, I said that she's his younger sister. That's not true. She's older, and I don't know how I didn't know that. She just seems younger, okay? She seems way too immature to be older than Matt. Matt is like such a mature, well-rounded, just good guy, a very healthy individual overall. And it genuinely shocked me that Vicky was older than him. She's pretty messed up, man. Anyway. Elena and Matt are now broken up, but Jeremy and Vicky are still pretty close, and they've even slept together in the past. Jeremy is completely in love with her. He is obsessed with Vicky. Vicky views her thing with Jeremy as like a summer fling where she just kind of, you know, did drugs and messed around with this guy, but she's pretty serious right now about Tyler. Tyler is a jock guy. He looks like he's 25. Vicky really likes him. And Tyler is not the best guy. He does not treat Vicky well. He even essays her in this episode, which is not okay. We don't like Tyler very much in season 1. And also maybe ever, question mark, but it depends on you. You know, that's something you're gonna have to figure out for yourself, is how you feel about Tyler in a few seasons. We also meet Elena's two best friends, Caroline and Bonnie. Caroline is super insecure, and Bonnie is a witch. Now, all these kids live in a town called Mystic Falls, which I believe is in Virginia. And Mystic Falls is an old town. They've got a history dating back to the Vikings, but we'll get to that in a few seasons. More significant than the ancient Viking history of Mystic Falls, there is a very large history of vampirism. Lots of vampires roaming around these parts. That's also something we'll get more into later. Vampires in this universe have some pretty sick powers. I'll just summarize for you really quick what we know so far, okay? Vampires have super hearing, super speed, super strength. They can use mind control on people, jump really high. They can heal really quickly and easily from almost any ailment. The only weaknesses we are aware of so far are that vampires will burn in the sun unless they're wearing a fancy magical daylight ring to protect them. Vampires cannot enter your house unless they've been invited in. I'm gonna add a bonus one here. A vampire will die if stabbed in the heart with a wooden stake. And there are more cool things we'll be learning about vampires along the journey, okay? To start off, we are introduced to Stefan, vampire boy Stefan. He's been out of town for a while. He's back in town and he is stalking Elena a lot. He's really stalking Elena. It's the first day of school and vampire Stefan shows up, mind controls his way to be registered at school, and bumps into Elena outside of the bathroom. They are super in love with each other from first sight. After school, Elena goes to the graveyard to write in her diary and mourn her parents. It's there that she sees a spooky fog come out of nowhere, which causes her to run away and run right into Stefan, who also happened to be going to the graveyard at the same time. Stefan sees that Elena got really hurt from barely falling on the ground and she's bleeding from that, and Stefan starts getting vampire senses activated, so he runs away while holding Elena's diary. Later, Stefan shows up at her house, creepily knows where her house is, and returns her diary, and Elena invites Stefan to go with her to the grill. They go to the grill, everybody, all their friends see them together and know that Stefan and Elena are now a spicy item. Later that night, we see Stefan in his room where he opens up a drawer full of all his old diaries because he is very much a diary girly. From this chest of diaries, he pulls one out that's really old and opens it, and we see there's a picture of a woman named Catherine labeled 1864. This mysterious woman, Catherine, looks identical to Elena. The next night, there's a really big high school party. Everybody's there hanging out. Stefan shows up to spend more time with Elena, but unfortunately, our beloved stoner girl Vicky gets attacked in the woods by a vampire, putting all the fun abruptly to an end. Luckily, Vicky is still alive. They get her to the hospital, and in the hospital, she tells her brother Matt that she was attacked by a vampire. Stefan lives with his uncle Zach, who's actually his great-great nephew or something. So Zach is just like a normal human guy. Now, there have been vampire attacks happening in Mystic Falls around the time that Stefan returned to town. Zach's getting all mad at Stefan, like, hey, stop killing people, get out of town if you're gonna be killing people. And Stefan keeps insisting that he didn't do it, okay? After Vicky gets attacked in the woods, he knows there's another vampire in town, goes home to tell Zach, there's another vampire, it's not me who's doing the death thing to everybody. Stefan goes upstairs to his room and finds there his evil, estranged brother named Damon. Damon has a pet crow and unexplained mystical fog powers he uses to create fog, and it's never explained and it never comes up again.
Wait do you see what I can do with the fog?
Stefan and Damon have a conversation where we learn that Damon also knows who Catherine is and knows that that's the reason why Stefan came back into town, was because Elena looks like Catherine. But we don't know yet why Damon came to town. That's a little mystery. What's that guy doing here, you know? We also learn here that vampires are stronger when they're feeding on human blood, which Stefan is not currently doing. Stefan has been doing an animal diet for many, many years. I think maybe some decades, potentially. Damon also brings up the fact that he has promised Stefan that he's going to give him an eternity of misery. He's here to follow through on that promise. Evil brother with a grudge. Check. Stefan shows up to Elena's house later that night, and Elena invites him into the house, which is a big deal because vampires cannot enter your residence unless they've been given explicit permission to do so. Elena asks Stefan in, and he looks like he's about to cry. He's so freaking happy. That's pretty much what you need to know about the pilot episode. Episode 2, Vicky is still in the hospital recovering. Stefan overhears Matt telling Elena that Vicky had said that she was attacked by a vampire.
Yeah, she wakes up last night, mutters vampire, and then passes out.
And Stefan's like, uh-oh. So Stefan ends up following Matt to the hospital. Matt goes into the hospital room and Vicky is standing creepily, just being creepy. And then she has a freak out attack on Matt. She just starts screaming at him. No! No! Matt runs out to go get a nurse. Stefan zips in with his vampire speed powers and uses his mind control to tell Vicky that what she saw was an animal that attacked her, that she's okay. She needs to calm down. And it works. Elena's friends, Bonnie and Caroline, are asking her about Stefan, and they're weirdly trying to push her into sleeping with him.
Boy likes girl, girl likes boy, sex.
Caroline is super pushy about it for some reason.
Just jump his bones already.
And then Elena's like, yeah, you know what? I woke up to do one thing today, and that was to sleep with Stefan. So she decides that's what she's gonna do.
Doing what I started the day saying I was gonna do.
Elena goes to Stefan's house for the first time, just unannounced, shows up, expecting to get some, I guess, I don't know. And this is where Elena meets Damon for the first time. He starts drama right off the bat. As soon as this man can, he's like, how can I sabotage this relationship between Stefan and Elena? Damon tells Elena about Stefan's last girlfriend and explains how it was really hard for him to get over her.
The last one?
Yeah, Catherine, his girlfriend. Maybe he didn't want to tell you because he didn't want you to think he was on the rebound.
Stefan comes over, finds them talking to each other, and the situation immediately gets super tense. Elena can sense the weird vibes between Stefan and Damon. I mean, they're not subtle. Stefan is not subtle about it, and Elena just books it out of there. She's like, okay, I'm gonna go now. After Elena leaves, Damon reminds Stefan about how he's weaker than Damon because he drinks animal blood, not human blood.
Remember, if you don't feed properly, none of those little tricks work right.
And it's evidence that Stefan's powers are not very strong by Vicky having a nightmare about Damon. At some point, Vicky is released from the hospital and we see her back at work at the grill. She sees Damon and recognizes him a little bit, but can't figure out from where. And then Damon just kidnaps her, so that's cool. Damon takes Vicky to the top of a building and has her like on the verge of falling off the building, making her feel all scared, and Stefan hears her. He zooms over and gets to the building with his vampire powers. And he's like, Damon, stop it. Then Damon starts sort of pressuring Vicky, asking her questions to try and get her to break through Stefan's compulsion or the vampire mind control. It doesn't take much effort for her to remember that Damon was in fact the one who attacked her. So Stefan's compulsion obviously wasn't that powerful. Damon then does something interesting where he compels Vicky with his superior vampire powers and tells Vicky that Stefan was actually the one who attacked her. Basically, Damon is putting Stefan in this trap where he has two options. One, he can feed on Vicky and then have the power to properly compel her, or Damon's just gonna let her go, run wild in the town, telling everybody that Stefan is a vampire. You know what Stefan does? Oh, so smooth. He calls Damon's bluff. He's like, okay, let her go. Let her tell everybody that I'm a vampire and let everybody stake me, make me be dead. I don't care. Because then I'll be free of you, Damon.
Because at least I'll be free of you.
Wow.
Damon's like, yeah, well, I'm trying to keep a low profile anyway, so joke's on you, brother, I'm sticking around. Damon recompels Vicky and compels her properly this time to forget that she was attacked by a vampire entirely, think that it was an animal. As we will learn throughout the series, Damon does not actually want Stefan to die. He just wants to bother him. He really wants to bother him in any way that he possibly can.
What are you up to, Damon?
Give Elena my best.
Nobody knows. No one knows why Damon's here. Why is Damon here? At the end of the previous episode, Caroline is sitting in the grill and she sees Damon across the grill a little bit and they like look at each other and she's all excited. Now, in this episode, he shows up at night right by her car, scares her, and then he flirts with her, seduces her, and then takes her home and then bites her. Yeah. Not good. Elena comes over to Stefan's house again, and they have this whole dialogue about what they were writing in their diaries, or what they want to write in their diaries. And then Stefan's like, well, you want to know what I would write in my diary if I was to write in my diary right now? We'll see how accurate I can get this. The line goes something like this. I met a girl. We talked, and it was epic. Then the sun came up, and reality set in. And this is reality. It's so bad.
All this is reality.
And so they kiss. That's their first kiss, is after they talk about writing in their diaries. It's so cute. Episode 3 is definitely the most high school of all the episodes. This one's all about cheerleading and football. There's this iconic scene in the beginning where Tyler, Jock Boy, throws a football really hard trying to hit Stefan in the head, but Stefan uses his vampire senses, turns around really fast, catches the football at like a crazy speed, and everyone's like, wow, whoa. Stefan's like the talk of the school, and because of that, Elena's like, Stefan, you should try out for the football team. And Stefan is so hesitant because he's like, no, none of the guys like me. I'm the loner guy. I don't belong with the football guys. But Stefan does decide to be on the football team. He does it for Elena, and he gets put on the football team immediately because he's very strong and fast for some reason. The football coach also is the history teacher, Mr. Tanner. He's kind of an asshole. There's another like iconic scene from this episode where Mr. Tanner is being a jerk as usual, and then Stefan pulls all of this like history buff knowledge from the last couple hundred years.
I'm good with dates, sir.
Are you? How good?
He and Mr. Tanner get into a little history fight, and Stefan wins.
Keep it to the year. John F. Kennedy assassination.
1963.
Martin Luther King.
68.
Lincoln.
1865.
He's got dates memorized. Super brain Stefan over here.
Brown versus Board.
1954.
Korean War.
1950 to 1953.
Elena is trying to get back into cheer. She did that before her parents died, but her heart's not really in it, and also she's really bad. Her doing cheer looks like me when I was 3 doing dance classes. Just totally spacey and had no idea what was going on. Damon convinces Caroline to bring him along to like a friend dinner event with Elena and Stefan and Bonnie. He gets invited into the house, which Stefan does not want to happen, but Elena lets him in.
He can't stay.
It's fine. Just come on in.
Now the evil brother can get into Elena's house. No, that's great. That's great. Damon makes things super awkward at this dinner party. He brings up Catherine again and talks about how Catherine died, which is so fun. Later, he finds a moment to talk to Elena alone, and they actually have like a weirdly tender moment. They start talking about Catherine, and Elena figures out that they both dated Catherine.
So, which one of you dated her first?
Ask Stefan. Sure, his answer differs from mine.
The next day, Stefan gives Elena a magical little necklace, a little necklace that has vervain in it. And vervain is an herb that blocks vampire ability. It's toxic to vampires in general, but if you have it on your body or if you like drink it or eat it, it will protect you from being mind controlled by vampires. So Stefan gives Elena this necklace with vervain in it so that she can't be compelled by Damon. Good thing too, because Damon tries to compel Elena to kiss him, and she's like, what the F, dude? No. And she slaps him in the face, which is warranted. There's a part where Tyler and Jeremy get into a fight over Vicky, which they've been fighting over her quite a bit lately. Stefan jumps in to stop the fight, and he gets his hand cut by broken glass. Elena sees the cut and runs over to help him, but unfortunately for Stefan, fortunately, I guess, he heals quickly because he's a vampire. And Elena then sees that his hand is totally fine. She's like, what? I could have sworn. And he's like, no, it's fine, it's fine. He gaslights her, and she's like, no, wait, what? We'll get back to that. After the football game, Damon confronts Stefan about giving Elena vervain.
Nice trick with Elena. Let me guess. Vervain in the necklace.
And he's like, yeah. Damon and Stefan get into this fight about whether or not Damon has any humanity left. And Stefan's like, dude, you totally have humanity. You could have killed me so many times and you still have never killed me. So like, stop pretending you're this heartless demon. And Damon's like, oh yeah, you think that I'm not a heartless demon? And then the history teacher comes out and Damon, you know, Damon kills Mr. Tanner. Bonnie, this whole episode, has been having these weird psychic witchy visions about these numbers. And then after Mr. Tanner is dead, at the crime scene, sees all the numbers that she's been seeing in her vision all day, like just on random things. And she's like, oh my gosh, I had a witchy psychic witchy prediction and I saw these numbers and now somebody's dead. So her vision was fulfilled, but also this isn't something you need to take too seriously because Bonnie never has a prediction like this ever again. It's just her powers kicking into gear, trying to help her realize that she's got something going on. At the end of the episode, Elena's talking to Stefan again, brings up his hand that it was cut again. She's like, dude, I swear I saw your hand get cut up. Like, I saw it. And then he gaslights her again.
I saw it.
I'm fine. I'm fine, okay? We're fine.
This woman refuses to be gaslit. She knows what she saw. Me? I would have fallen for it immediately, honestly. I would have been like, oh no, yeah, you're right. My eyes were wrong, probably. Episode 4 is where things really start to pick up. On the news that morning, we see Logan Fell as a reporter guy on the news.
I don't watch the news.
Logan is a new character. He's here.
I never ever be on live television.
The animal terrorizing Mystic Falls has been caught.
Did your mom ever tell you why I moved away from Mystic Falls?
You and him?
Also known as Logan Scumfell.
This guy, Logan Scumfell, according to Jenna, used to date Jenna, and apparently he's the reason she left town a few years back.
Apparently, I've never been on live television before.
At the Salvatore boarding house, there's like a cell in the basement, which is kind of dope. Zach, the guy living in the Salvatore house, who's Stefan and Damon's distantly related nephew, Zach takes Stefan down into the cellar, shows him inside this room, and he has been growing vervain, and he's got quite the stash. Now, Stefan is trying to set a plan to try and get Damon to consume some vervain so that they can incapacitate him. We'll see how that goes. Tonight is the Founders Party, okay? The freaking Founders Party. A very bougie get-together with all the original founding families. Just everybody we know goes to this party. So the Lockwood family, okay? Tyler, the jock boy, his parents are a pretty big deal. Mayor Lockwood is his dad, all right? Tyler's mom, Carol, she has been approaching Elena about getting some family heirlooms to display at the Founders Party. One thing in particular she's looking for is a family pocket watch, a Gilbert watch. She's very insistent that she needs this pocket watch. However, the pocket watch is supposed to technically be Jeremy's possession, and he doesn't want anyone else to have it right now. So Elena lets it slide and just tells Carol that she couldn't find it. And Carol's like, oh, bummer. Well, if you find it, let me know, because we really need that watch.
I noticed the watch still isn't in the collection. Please let me know if you do find it.
The Founders Party is held at the Lockwood residence, so we are seeing Tyler's big fancy home for the first time. And the Lockwoods are an old money family, so they've got a ton of land, biggest owners of real estate in Mystic Falls. This house, gorgeous like colonial mansion. It's not fair. It's just not. Earlier that day, Vicky is at work, Tyler's talking to her, Jeremy is lingering around as usual. Vicky's kind of mad at Tyler because she wants him to invite her to the Founders Party that night.
I don't think you're trash.
Then who are you taking to the Founders Party?
Do you want me to ask you to the Founders Party?
And then Jeremy's like, you realize you had to ask him to invite you, right?
You know you're making the wrong choice, yet you make it anyway. It's sad.
He doesn't care about you like I do, Vicky. I'm the only one who truly loves you. No one will ever love you as much as I do. Vicky shows up at the party that night. There's a line out the front door where everyone's being greeted and invited inside, and Tyler sneaks around, grabs Vicky from the line, and like takes her around back, which his mom does see, even though the whole point was to try and hide Vicky from his mom. Tyler's parents don't like Vicky. They look down on her because she's poor. Later, this causes Vicky and Tyler to get into a fight. Tyler's mom sees them and comes up to them and is like, oh, hey, being super passive aggressive. Vicky is like, I don't want to be here. And she pisses off because she's mad at Tyler.
That's what you get when you bring the trash into the party.
God, Carol. mind your business. No one asked you.
I don't think you're trash.
After Vicky storms off away from the party, she actually goes to the Gilbert home. She decides that actually Jeremy does totally care about her more than anyone could ever care about her. So I guess simping was a successful tactic for Jeremy. Good job, bud. I'm glad it worked for you. Arriving at the actual Founders Ball, we meet Elizabeth, or Lizzie Forbes. This is Caroline's mother. Liz Forbes is the sheriff of the town. She is a wonderful character, and she and Caroline have a very interesting mother-daughter dynamic. Caroline's dad left them to go be with a man. It's a whole thing. It's a whole drama. Caroline is pretty resentful for Liz being gone a lot, working a lot. Caroline is kind of on her own when it comes to the parenting department. Same with Matt and Vicky, by the way. Their parents, dad has not been in their life since they were like tiny, teeny babies. Their mom is scumbag wild and is never around. Lots of absent parents in this show. Anyway, Logan Fell is at the founders party and he sees Jenna, immediately is trying to get back in her good graces, and Jenna is having none of it. I actually love the interactions at this party between Jenna and Logan.
Your hairline's receding.
No, it's not. You want to have lunch?
Nope.
There's so much banter and wittiness, and Jenna is so hot. Like, she's just so hot. I'll just show you so you can see what I mean.
You haven't changed a bit.
Oh, yes, I have. I'm meaner now.
So Jenna rejects Logan once, and then later he tries to come up to her again and is like, what do I gotta do, girl? I want you bad. And she pulls out a line that,
Well, maybe I could have a second chance to make things right.
Her name was Monica, wasn't it?
Jenna! Love a woman who can stand up for herself. But Logan does eventually successfully wear Jenna down with his Logan Fell charm. She reluctantly agrees to go on a date with him, and he's very good at manipulating his way back into her life. So I don't blame Jenna for that, because he's pretty charming. There's a part at the party where Bonnie accidentally lights a candle with her magic. She's just like looking at a candle, and then all of a sudden it just lights. Like, she's like, what the? Inside, there's this room full of candles, and none of the candles are lit. Carol goes up to one of the like staff members helping out that night, and she's all mad, like, these candles are supposed to be lit, and they're not lit. And then Bonnie, she's just standing there. She's like, I'm gonna try and light it with my magical powers. So she sits there, she's staring at the candles, and nothing happens. She gives up and starts walking away, turns around. As she turns around, like, all the candles behind her are lit. All the candles in the whole room. Every time I watch it, it gives me the chills. I just got the chills talking about it just now. I wish I could have shown them to you, but you can't see them. Really, Bonnie is just an incredible character, and I love her story arc, how she's like discovering her powers as a witch. It's a really good storyline. Damon is still manipulating Caroline, controlling her, feeding off of her, using her as a spy / puppet. Damon compels Caroline to take him to the founders party. Elena and Stefan are also there at the founders party. Damon and Caroline sort of beeline it over to Stefan and Elena, and Damon has compelled Caroline to ask Stefan to dance. Damon basically does this just for the purpose of getting Elena alone so he can spread rumors about Stefan and cause more unnecessary drama. Damon just wanted more drama today, okay? While Caroline is off dancing with Stefan, Stefan gets a bright idea, smart big brain idea, to put the vervain in some champagne and give it to Caroline, thus sneaking vervain into Caroline's system so that one, Damon won't be able to control her anymore, but also it's going to play a key role a little bit later. After this, Damon reconnects with Caroline and takes her back into the house, and they go to some obscure upstairs room in the colonial mansion. He finds this old box with a hidden door, like a hidden compartment in it, and pulls out a big brown crystal. Now we have this spooky, mysterious, magical crystal in the mix of the story. Ooh. Later, Elena finds Caroline in the bathroom. Elena sees that Caroline has been absolutely covered in bite marks from Damon, and Elena's like, what the actual fuck? She is furious.
There is something seriously wrong with you.
Damon is upset with Caroline because Elena found out about the bite marks all over her. He's like, I have no need for you. We're done. And bites Caroline, starts drinking her blood. Luckily, Stefan gave her that vervain earlier, and it absolutely knocks Damon out.
What the hell?
Stefan runs in, gets Damon out of there. Caroline wakes up a little bit later, finds the brown magical crystal that Damon got from the Lockwood home and holds on to it. And then Elena comes up to Caroline. Caroline breaks down in tears. And this is sort of the very beginning of her development as a character, and it's really cool to see where she goes from here. Stefan locks Damon up in the jail cell in their basement, so Damon has been incapacitated for the time being. At the end of this episode, we see something very interesting we haven't seen before. Something called the Founders Council, a secret council that was established in the 1860s, and members on this council are aware of vampires. This council has been a continual tradition. All the adult members of the founding families are part of this council. So Caroline's mom, the sheriff, Tyler Lockwood's parents, and Logan Fell as well. Carol Lockwood brings up the Gilbert family heirloom, the watch that she was not able to get from Elena and Jeremy, because apparently it's more significant than just an old family heirloom. And Logan, who's in this meeting, is like, I can get the watch. So yeah, his intentions, not wholesome. We start episode 5 with Damon locked in the cell. Stefan took Damon's daylight ring, just in case he happened to escape his cell, and also tells Damon he's gonna leave him in this cell to desiccate, which is a gnarly process. If a vampire doesn't consume blood for a certain amount of time, their body starts to desiccate. It's like a super painful process of drying out, essentially, becoming a dehydrated vampire, a corpse vegetable that's in a lot of pain and still alive. So Stefan wants to do that to Damon, give him 50 years of desiccation and check in with him in a bit. Because Stefan has been focused so much on Damon, he's been ignoring Elena. He just told her he's got some stuff to do and has not been communicating for a few days. He shows up at the school, finds Elena, and sets a time with her to meet up and explain everything that's been going on. Caroline sees them talking. She excitedly comes up and asks about Damon, and Stefan tells her that Damon is gone forever.
When's he coming back?
He's not coming back. I'm sorry.
Elena shows up at the grill to meet up with Stefan at their arranged time, and Stefan is an hour late. So Elena and Matt start talking. Matt gets Elena to open up about Stefan, and Elena mentions that she's actually kind of concerned about Stefan right now. Matt jokingly asks Elena if she thinks that Stefan is
a serial killer and he keeps a clown suit in his trunk.
Weirdly, not that far off. Stefan finally shows up to the grill, and Elena is so pissed off at him. She is just laying it on him immediately. Matt's like, okay, gotta go. Stefan and Elena kind of talk, but Stefan doesn't really answer Elena's questions, and she calls him out on this. She's like, dude, everything I ask you, you're not really answering my questions. I'm gonna need transparency if this relationship is gonna work. Love that, by the way. While Elena and Stefan are talking, they get interrupted by this older man being like, I know you, talking about Stefan. This guy looks at Stefan, he's like, you have not aged a freaking day. And Stefan's like, I don't think you know what you're talking about. You don't know me. After their fight at the grill, Stefan makes a little romantic arrangement. Jeremy lets him in the house, and Stefan starts cooking dinner for Elena. He's trying to be like, okay, I get that you want to dump me, but if you're gonna dump me, I need you to know I make a mean risotto. Starts opening up about himself. One of the things that Stefan likes to do is cook. So he's cooking for Elena to help her get to know him better. This is where we see that Stefan can, in fact, eat garlic. Garlic does not affect vampires in this universe, if you were wondering.
Are you kidding? I love garlic.
Unfortunately, Elena decides to help out with the cooking, and as she's chopping something, just immediately slices her finger, and there's a ton of blood. Some of the blood even gets on Stefan. Stefan starts going vamp mode, but Elena can see the reflection of his face in the window. And this is the second time she's seen that vampire face, okay? This is the second time something real weird has happened to Stefan's face around Elena. To be continued. Big part of this episode is the Sexy Suds car wash fundraiser. Caroline has arranged this whole car wash event. Elena and Stefan and Bonnie are helping out with this event. Bonnie gets to explore her magic witch powers a little bit more. There's like this other girl who's sort of being a mean girl to Bonnie. Bonnie, through pure rage, pure emotion and anger, is able to explode a bucket of suds into this girl's face, and then later uses a trail of water to light a car on fire. The mean girl's car on fire. And it's insane. It is an insane scene where Bonnie's just standing there almost in a trance, and this car is like blazing in flames. Stefan recognizes what's happening because he knows a little bit about witches and is able to help Bonnie break out of her trance. Later, Bonnie ends up going to visit her Grams, the kooky crazy Grams who we have heard about before, but we've never met. Bonnie goes to her grandmother's house to start figuring out what's going on with her magic. And that's sort of her story in this episode. Caroline, whilst running the car wash, goes on a mission to find some extra towels and gets caught up in a trance by Damon's mind control. He is somehow able to reach her all the way from his cell in the Salvatore boarding house. Apparently, he has a pretty strong, like, psychic connection to her.
Caroline.
So he gets Caroline all in a trance, and she trance walks herself all the way to the Salvatore boarding house, where she starts unlocking the cage that Damon's in. Zach finds her, comes to like reclose and relock the door, breaks Caroline out of her trance, and is like, "Get the F out of here, dude, run." Caroline starts booking it out of there, and then Zach, unfortunately, Damon comes up to the door and, you know, neck snap. Zach dead. Very unfortunate. Damon chases Caroline through the house, but she's able to escape and run away, and Damon doesn't have his daylight ring, so he can't go out in the sun after her or he will burn to death. There's a really cool effect we get to see when Damon gets burned up a little bit in the sunlight, and then we see his face heal from the sunlight. That's kind of cool. They do pretty cool special effects in the show. So he's now free, just stuck in the boarding house temporarily, and is very hungry and very upset. Elena has been getting more and more suspicious of Stefan as the day goes on, and she goes full sleuth mode. Apparently, that old guy who saw Stefan earlier at the grill and was like, "I know you," he is the grandpa of the girl that's bullying Bonnie, so he happens to be at the car wash as well. Elena sees him at the car wash and is like, "Hey, tell me more about how you recognize Stefan." He had seen Stefan before at the Salvatore boarding house back in the 1950s when he was just a kid.
When was this?
1953.
This gets Elena going crazy, okay? She's like, I have got to know what is going on here because something is super weird with Stefan. Logan Fell happens to be there with his news truck, I guess doing a story about the car wash for the local news.
Citizens of Mystic Falls coming together in support of one of their own.
Already went down the super slide.
Jenna is there as well, casually hanging out with Logan, giving him a second chance. Elena asks him for help looking through old news articles, and Logan, because he's trying to get in Jenna's good graces, does help Elena. So they go back to the news station, where Logan shows Elena how to look through all their digitized news articles from the past. He just leaves Elena there with all the archives. I don't know if he's allowed to do that. Elena starts sleuthing, okay? She looks up about the 1950s. While Elena is sleuthing, Stefan is talking to Matt at the car wash, and Matt is telling him like, hey dude, just a friendly word of advice. I know Elena and she's big on honesty. If you're hiding something from her, she will figure it out. Meanwhile, we see Elena at the news station looking up old articles, and she happens to find some perfectly preserved, pristine footage of the 1950s and just happens to see Stefan in this footage. She puts all the pieces together and figures out that something's up here. She knows that Vicky had said she was attacked by a vampire, which is probably a pretty big clue. Then she goes through everything else she's seen and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm dating a freaking vampire.
Girls bitten.
Oh my god, what happened to you? Nothing.
Bodies drained of blood.
Now let's catch up with Vicky and Jeremy. She's hanging out with Jeremy all day. She ends up stealing some of Elena's pain prescription pills, and she wants to get high with Jeremy, which Jeremy's a little hesitant about. He's kind of like, well, I don't know, I kind of just want to hang out with you, maybe not getting high. And then Vicky's all like, are you trying to change me? Because that would suck. And he's all like, no. Anyway, later they go to this cemetery spot where Vicky hangs out with some of her other stoner friends. While they're there, she pulls out Elena's pills and tosses them to her friends. And Jeremy's like, what the heck? Like, not cool. And then he leaves. All right, so that's where we're at with Jeremy and Vicky. While Jeremy's out with Vicky, Logan happens to be at the house with Jenna. Logan says he's going to the bathroom and then goes and snoops around in Jeremy's room and finds the pocket watch, steals it. Now Logan has the freaking pocket watch. Great. After the car wash, when it gets dark, Stefan goes home. He finds that Zach is deceased. So now that it's dark outside, Damon is out on the loose. He is a free spirit, and Damon went to the cemetery where all the stoners are, where Vicky was. Bloodbath. Stefan is like, uh-oh, gotta go. Starts running to the door, opens the door. Guess who's on the other side? Elena. She's sitting there, and she's like, what are you?
What are you?
What a moment, you know? Ooh. Episode 6, pretty important, pretty pivotal episode here. In this episode, we get the first flashback. Flashback episodes are so fun. We go back to 1864 when Stefan met Catherine for the first time. OMG, 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 Catherine. All we see in this first flashback is Catherine getting out of her carriage looking stunning. Catherine is so hot, by the way. There's something about Catherine, all right? You'll see what I mean. She is But anyway, all we see in this flashback is Catherine getting out of her carriage and Stefan being like, oh, hi. Back in the present day, we've got Elena at Stefan's door.
What are you?
And he tells her. Right away, he's like, I'm a vampire. Elena gets freaked out, runs away, hops in her car, goes home, and Stefan vamp speed runs into her room, into her house. Stefan tells her that he's not gonna hurt her, that Damon is the one being the bad guy vampire while Stefan is being the good guy vampire.
If you mean me no harm, then you'll go.
He goes. He leaves her alone. I like that she's genuinely freaked out by this. I think it's a really good writing choice. We check back in with Damon, who's in that cemetery still, currently burning up all the bodies that he just demolished in his hunger binge. Damon goes up to Vicky's body and turns out he didn't actually kill her. Vicky is still ever so slightly alive.
You just don't want to die, do you?
And instead of finishing the job, he takes Vicky back to the Salvatore home with him to just, fuck around and find out. We'll get back to that. Elena agrees to give Stefan the day to sort of explain himself, and, she'll ultimately have the choice whether or not she wants to continue to be with him. Stefan takes Elena to this old property. It's pretty run down. It's basically ruins now.
Used to be my home.
It looks so
Old?
And explains to Elena that he has been 17 since the year of 1864. Stefan is 161 years old. While Stefan is telling his story to Elena, we get another flashback to 1864, when Catherine is living at their house. Yeah, Catherine starts living in their house. She convinces them that she's like an orphan girl and needs a place to stay, so the Salvatore family takes her in. Anyway, Damon sees Catherine and and is obviously smitten by her immediately, but he can tell that she is more into Stefan and wants Stefan to flirt with her. Damon is the one who recognizes that she's making advances, and he's like, hey,
Why are you standing there? That is a girl who clearly wants to be chased.
if you're not gonna go for her, I am. I'm pursuing this. Are you kidding me?
You don't do it, I will.
And Catherine starts playing with both of them.
I'll need someone to escort me to the Founders Ball.
With pleasure.
So soon, right off the bat, she's like, however am I gonna choose between these two brothers?
How will I ever choose?
She does end up choosing Stefan to be her date for the Founders Ball and goes with him to his bedroom that night. While Catherine and Stefan are getting down, Catherine goes full vampire on him. She's a vampire. Bites Stefan, bites him in the neck. Because she's a vampire. I love this storyline. I freaking love Catherine. She's such a cool character. In the morning, Stefan wakes up covered in blood. He starts freaking out. He is terrified of Catherine. And she compels him to calm down and just be okay with everything that's happening. Catherine then tells Stefan she wants both of the brothers and she wants them forever.
You, me, and Damon. No rules.
Wow. We then jump back to the present to Elena and Stefan. Elena asks Stefan about the mind control stuff, where Stefan tells her the necklace that he gave her has vervain in it and it will protect her from mind control.
Elena, you should never take that necklace off.
Checking back in with Damon. We are seeing a whole other side of Damon in this episode. He gets wild and a little freaky. He's brought Vicky back to the Salvatore boarding house. She's laying on the couch, nearly dead, and Damon's like, well, you're not gonna be any fun. Let me use my vampire blood to magically heal you of all your ailments. Yeah, he shows us something about vampires that we did not know before. Vampire blood can heal people. Anything wrong with you, it's better. Vicky is like super down to drink Damon's blood. She goes hard for that blood.
Can I have another hit? That blood was so good.
She lets Damon continue to drink from her, so like they just share. Like she drinks Damon's blood, he drinks her blood, and they're having a great time. Vicky gets almost like a manic hyper high, and she starts gushing about how much she likes Jeremy and just getting super girly. Like it's a side of her we've never seen before. And Damon is actually really sweet and fun with Vicky, which is just so weird to see. And this is part of what makes him a really good villain and also just a cool character in general. One moment he'll be super sweet, charming, romantic, thoughtful, and then the next he's like just murdering people without thinking about it twice, without thinking about it at all in most scenarios. Vicky and Damon even have a heart-to-heart where she opens up to him about how difficult her life has been. She tells him that she can't even picture what she wants her future to look like. She just feels so lost and hopeless and like she doesn't really have a purpose in this world. And Damon sees her like this and he comes to the conclusion that she does have a really sad little life and he knows what would make it better. He does the same thing to Vicky that he did to Zach, you know, neck broken. Vicky dead. Yeah, he just kills her. In the Vampire Diaries, when you consume the magical vampire blood that heals you of all your ailments, there's another potential side effect that you need to be kind of careful about. Because if you die with vampire blood in your system, the vampire blood will resurrect you temporarily to give you the opportunity to choose whether or not you want to become a vampire. So Vicky awakes from her death as a transitioning vampire. So now she has a choice to make. Either she feeds on human blood to become a vampire, or she doesn't do that. The vampire blood leaves her system and she be dead. She would die. Damon just sort of lets Vicky go. He lets her be a free woman, you know, do her thing. And she ends up going to the Gilbert household. And Vicky is acting pretty weird. A little bit different than normal. Almost like having a really, really bad hangover. She's also like ravenously hungry and goes through all the food in the fridge, but it's like it doesn't taste good. It's not doing anything for her because she needs blood. The other thing about being a vampire is that people that you love or have some kind of feelings for, you're more drawn to wanting to drink their blood. So that's a fun little side effect of being a vampire. And Vicky is experiencing this with Jeremy, where she almost attacks him and then she freaks out and runs away. Stefan has the capability of tracking Vicky, apparently, which is a power that sometimes exists and sometimes they don't really talk about that much, but Stefan tracks Vicky, figures out where she is. Remember how Logan Fell stole the watch from Jeremy's room? Well, apparently the watch plugs into some other kind of device and makes a compass. It's supposed to point at vampires. It's like a vampire tracking device that was invented by Jonathan Gilbert in the 1860s. Logan starts taking it out to hunt freaking vampires. Logan ends up in the cemetery. Guess who's also in the cemetery? Vicky. Yeah, so Vicky's in the cemetery. Stefan finds Vicky, and then Stefan gets shot by Logan with a wooden bullet. Luckily, Damon comes to the rescue. He just kills Logan, helps rip the bullet out of Stefan's body. Meanwhile, Vicky, who had previously made the decision not to feed on human blood and to in fact just go home and let herself die, she sorta gets a whiff of Logan's blood from when Damon just attacked him just barely. Do you remember that? Then yes, she sort of partakes in the blood of Logan. So Vicky is now a vampire! Whoa! Now we've seen the full process of what it looks like when someone becomes a vampire in the Vampire Diaries universe. Another significant thing here is that Damon realizes that the bullet that was in Stefan, wooden bullet. So he's like, oh shit, they know. They know we're here. And then Damon also gets the compass, grabs that little compass majigger. It is now in the possession of the vampires' RIP Founders Council. Nice try on that one. Stefan goes back to talk to Elena and tells her about everything that happened and how Vicky is now a freaking vampire. Elena is appalled and upset. She does not want to have to lie to everybody. She does not want any part of this, and she cuts ties with Stefan. You know, she just can't.
I can't be with you, Stefan.
I just can't.
I just can't.
And then Elena cries, and the episode ends. Episode 7, Bonnie is with her Grams right now. Grams is teaching her the history of their witch family, and we get more explanation about the Salem witches thing that was mentioned in the pilot episode.
Our ancestors were from Salem, witches and all that, I know.
Apparently, the Bennett witch family were in fact in Salem during the time of the witch trials and may have prompted the witch trials to happen in the first place, but none of the real witches actually got caught because it takes more than ignorance to trap a real witch, according to Grams.
You have to have more than ignorance to trap a real witch.
Grams claims that no witches were actually harmed in the witch hunts, just normal people, just innocent, normal people. And yeah, apparently the witches just let that happen. So Caroline finally gives away the crystal that she got from Damon. She wants Damon out of her mind and out of her life, so she gives the crystal to Bonnie. Bonnie now has Damon's crystal, for your information. Haven't forgot about the crystal, have you? No, the crystal is still a thing. Stefan is trying to train Vicky, who's now a baby vampire, trying to train her how to be a vampire. We're learning through this situation that baby vampires are pretty volatile, really overly emotional and sensitive to everything around them, and it's an overwhelming experience. It's very normal for a new vampire to completely lose control and kill a lot of people, and Stefan is trying to get ahead of this, help train Vicky how to live his lifestyle, you know, the animal blood life. Damon is kind of scoffing at this, and then there's a moment where he decides to give Vicky a little vampire lesson. They go out on the front yard and Damon teaches Vicky about super speed. She figures it out pretty quick and then just runs away. Even though Stefan and Damon have forbidden her from doing so, she just zips away and decides to go do her thing. Meanwhile, Jeremy has been extremely worried about Vicky and has been quite depressed. Elena, in an effort to make Jeremy feel better, invites Jeremy to the Halloween party that night at their school. Jeremy initially turns it down. No, that's stupid. I just want Vicky. Vicky changed my life. Vicky's amazing. All I need in the whole world is Vicky. And then Vicky ends up inviting Jeremy to go to the Halloween party because she's going to be there. So Jeremy changes his mind. He's like, yes, I'm going to this Halloween party now. And I'm just going to wear a hoodie because I'm not there to have fun. I'm there to find Vicky. Stefan and Elena are at the party as well. Stefan finds Vicky and gives her a real talk like, girl, you need to be so careful because being a vampire is super dangerous. We see a little bit of Stefan's darkness just in this moment where he's talking about how it feels to be hungry as a vampire. There's so much weight to his words here.
I'm fine.
Really? Mm-hmm. Your stomach's not screaming at you? Like if someone looks at you the wrong way, you could just rip their head off?
You can tell there's a lot of conviction in what he's saying, and that Stefan is familiar with what it is like to have the dark side of being a vampire. Vicky finds Jeremy, and then she takes him outside next to the buses where they start making out and shit. And she tells Jeremy that she wants to run away with him, basically. Skip town, get out of here.
If you come with me, we can be together forever.
And Jeremy is all about it. He's like, yes, let's run away, Vicky. Let's be in love forever. We are made for each other. Honestly, though, the way he answers her asking to run away, it's so cute. He's so sweet.
Okay. Yeah.
This sweet, innocent, like, okay. Yeah. While they're making out, Vicky accidentally bites his lip. Ow! And then purposefully continues to bite his lip and suck his blood and starts hurting him. Elena shows up, brave enough to fight a vampire. She is not strong enough to fight a vampire, but we'll give her props for being brave. Luckily, Stefan is there with super hearing vamp powers and is able to find them, stop Vicky from killing Jeremy. Vicky instead decides to charge after Elena to try and kill her. Because Vicky tried to kill Elena, Stefan stakes Vicky. Stabbed in the heart. Vicky has to go. Yeah. It really sucks. Vicky is now gone. She's dead. Damon then shows up to help out with Vicky's vampire corpse. And Elena is so pissed off at Damon. Well, yeah. This is all Damon's fault.
You confuse me for someone with remorse.
But the way that she tries to fight him is so unbelievably pathetic. Damon is completely unfazed at the fact that Elena is mad at him. He's just kind of like, yeah, whatever, you're being kind of annoying. And then he's like, Elena, go, like, get the fuck out of here, dude. And Damon is the one to take care of Vicky's body, you know, find a place to dispose of her. Pretty fucking morbid, but it's his fault anyway, so it's kind of the least he can do. Back in the party, Elena then runs into Matt. She's still kind of in shock, and Matt is panicking because he can't find Vicky. And Elena now has to start lying and start distancing herself even more from her humanity. It's heartbreaking to watch her have to lie to Matt about what happened to Vicky just to keep secrets. Elena then goes home with Jeremy and talks to him about what happened, asking if he even understands what he saw. Jeremy is in complete shock. He is super confused. He's absolutely heartbroken. Jeremy is not okay. Stefan has been sitting outside listening in on this conversation. Elena comes down and asks if maybe Stefan can use his compulsion powers to help Jeremy forget what happened that night. Stefan explains that he can try, but he really can't guarantee that that would work since he hasn't been drinking human blood. At the height of the music swell in this scene, Damon enters and offers to help. Damon goes upstairs to compel Jeremy. Meanwhile, Elena and Stefan are talking, and Elena says that she wishes she could also forget everything, forget about vampires and forget that any of this ever happened. And honestly, this would have been the best case scenario. I think this would have been really good for Elena to do. For literally everyone, just kind of quit while you're ahead, you know? But Elena just can't.
But I can't.
She just can't.
I can't lose the way I feel about
about you.
She and Stefan are back together now, so this is gonna be complicated. This is a complicated choice that you're making, Elena, but you know, we're gonna try to work with it. A little earlier in the episode, there's a part where the Lockwoods are at the grill and they're fighting. So this is Mayor Lockwood and his wife. Mayor Lockwood leaves the table, and that gives Damon, who has been making eyes at Carol Lockwood for the last little bit, gives him a chance to interject, which I think Carol definitely noticed him ogling and definitely wanted him to interject. Damon sneaks his way in. He figures out that she is wearing vervain. He figures out about the council, and he begins a process of infiltrating the Founders Council, which is such a fun plotline. And Damon is so smooth with Carol. He's just smooth. He's a charmer, you know? He really knows how to get under people's skin and like get what he wants out of people. Except for Bonnie, who does not like him because of how he treated Caroline. Obviously, we're not forgetting that, by the way. During the Halloween party, Damon and Bonnie run into each other, and Damon sees that she is wearing that magical little crystal that he got from the Lockwood house. She's wearing that as part of her witch costume. Damon reaches to grab it and rip it off of her, and it ends up burning his hand. This prompts Bonnie to go home to her grandma. Like, Grams, I just did something crazy. What did I do? She shows her the crystal, and then Grams goes and finds an old photo of their ancestor, Emily Bennett, and she is wearing that same crystal. Crystal drama is unfolding. The lore is getting unfolded. Episode 8 is when we meet Lexi. Lexi is one of Stefan's oldest, longest friends, his best friend in the whole world. And this is one of my favorite portrayals on television of like male-female friendship. Lexi and Stefan have never had a romantic relationship. They've always been complete platonic friends. Lexi is a vampire who is much older than Damon and Stefan. She also does not have a daylight ring like Damon and Stefan do. And this is how they're showing us that the daylight rings are actually quite rare. Most vampires don't have daylight rings. Stefan and Damon are sort of outliers in that area. Lexi shows up at the Salvatore house to surprise Steffi for his birthday. Today, Stefan is turning 162 years old. Good for him. There's a part where Lexi is talking to Damon, and there's just the slightest allusion here to their history together, which they do, in fact, have a history together. But we're not going to learn about that until like season 6, maybe? I don't remember what season it was. It's not for a minute though. Damon and Lexi are having this kind of cute little banter together until Lexi goes super baddie vamp on Damon, and she's all like, I'm older and I'm stronger than you, so don't even try to mess with me. Introducing the concept that vampires actually get stronger as they age. And there are vampires much, much older than Damon and Stefan, so the world, the universe, just got a little bigger here. Sheriff Forbes is investigating Vicky's disappearance, and Matt, Elena, Jeremy, and Stefan are all at the sheriff's office, all recounting stories to the sheriff in regards to Vicky's mysterious disappearance again last night. Elena and Stefan both lie, obviously, which is really hard for Elena. Outside of the sheriff's office, Elena breaks up with Stefan again, you know, because she just can't. She just can't. She just can't do it.
I can't do this, Stefan.
If we're learning anything about Elena in this season, she just can't, okay?
I just can't. I can't.
She just can't.
No, you have to stay away from me.
Bonnie ends up coming over to Elena's house that day, and they have such a good girl chat. Elena tells Bonnie that she and Stefan have broken up and she wants to get her mind off of it. And Bonnie has a brilliant idea to show Elena how she knows how to do magic now, and it's super fun. Bonnie grabs a pillow and just rips it open, spreading the feathers all over the bed, and then does this cool trick where she like makes a feather float, and then she makes all the feathers float. Iconic moment, okay? And Elena obviously believes Bonnie immediately and is so supportive of Bonnie.
It's true, Elena. I'm a witch. I believe you.
if Bonnie was gonna tell anyone about this, Elena was definitely the right person. Caroline runs into Damon at the grill again. Damon uses his compulsion powers over Caroline to get her to plan a party at the grill. Damon then pops in and invites Stefan and Lexi to come to the grill tonight for a party that Caroline just happens to be throwing on Stefan's birthday. Lexi is super into the idea and gets Stefan to agree to go to the party, to go out, let loose, have some fun. A little bit later, Lexi had been, washing up, taking a little shower, walking around the house in a towel when Elena just randomly shows up to talk to Stefan. So Elena sees Lexi in a bath towel and is kind of like, oh, whoa. And Lexi's reaction to Elena, insane. Elena's super uncomfortable. She leaves, and Lexi goes immediately over to Stefan and is like, what the F, Stefan? Seriously? She holds up the picture of Catherine and is like, dude, Stefan, I just freaking met Elena. So clearly, Lexi knows who Catherine is as well. And then Stefan's just like, oh yeah, I know she looks like Catherine, but she's just so nice and so sweet. And Lexi's like, oh, you're in love with her, aren't you?
Oh my God, you're in love with her.
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Wait, what?
Are you out of your freaking mind?
12 seconds later.
You're in love with her.
Yeah.
Since Elena showed up at the house, Stefan goes to Elena. Elena's all like, dude, there was a girl in a towel at your house. And he's like, oh, no, Lexi? Oh, no. My gorgeous blonde best friend who was naked in my house? No. She's 350 years old. Ew, gross. I'm only 162. Stefan asks Elena why she came by, and she's just like, it was a mistake.
You want to talk to me?
I can't.
I can't. And that's the problem, is that I can't.
Stefan, I can't, and that's the problem.
Like at this point, Elena needs a t-shirt that just says, I just can't on it. Today, Damon is being a little connivester, a little snake, if you will. Damon has a couple of goals today. One, get his crystal back from Bonnie. And two, covering his tracks in Mystic Falls. Starting with the crystal, he compels Caroline to try and get that crystal from Bonnie, even if she has to rip it off of Bonnie. So Caroline goes to Bonnie to try and get the crystal, and it's so funny. She tries to ask nicely, then asks a little forcefully, and then escalates to an insult. She goes up to Bonnie and is like,
when you wear it, it makes you look fat. There, I said it, but it's because I'm your friend.
It makes you look fat. It's just so dumb. It's so funny.
It's because I'm your friend.
Caroline tries to grab the necklace off of Bonnie and it shocks her. So now Damon can see that the necklace shocks anyone who tries to take it from Bonnie, not just him.
I tried. It shocked me.
Damn it. Why does it do that?
I'm trying to not be biased, but Damon is just hilarious, all right? He's so funny. I fucking love Damon. Call me morally inconsistent. I don't care. It's a TV show.
Why does it do that?
Now going to the other part of Damon's master plan, covering his tracks. He wants to convince the council that a vampire has been found and that the problem is solved. And he comes up with a plan that's actually pretty foolproof, even though it is horrible. It is terrible and I hate it, but smart at the same time. Damon goes outside of the grill, finds a couple making out in an alleyway. He attacks and kills the guy and then compels the girl to think that Lexi is the one who attacked them. Then when the police and Sheriff Forbes end up finding this girl and dead boyfriend, they think they have this advantage that the vampire left a witness, and they have this witness girl guide them into the grill to show them who attacked them. She points to Lexi, so Sheriff Forbes comes right up and stabs Lexi with some vervain, knocks her out, dude. They're able to drag Lexi outside, but since Lexi is older and stronger, she starts waking up from the vervain pretty quickly. She starts getting her strength back and begins to fight back against the police when Damon comes around out of nowhere and stakes Lexi. She just looks at Damon like, why? Damon, little petty bitch, replies,
it's part of the plan.
And then frickin' stakes her in the heart. Lexi, dead. Gone. And then he turns to Liz and is able to now be fully on the good side of the freaking sheriff who's, part of the Founders Council. He just killed a vampire. He's definitely one of the good guys, you know what I mean? Lexi just got done so dirty, man. Poor Lexi. Stefan is in a blind rage. Stefan goes home and starts beating Damon up. Like, he's so mad. He really wants Damon to not be alive anymore because killing Lexi, not cool move, bro. He ends up actually getting the upper hand and stabs Damon with a stake, but he doesn't stab him in the heart. He doesn't get the right spot intentionally. Basically, like, you saved my life. You remember when Logan shot him and Stefan was about to die? Since Damon saved Stefan's life, Stefan has decided to spare Damon's life. Couple other notable parts of this episode. At the party, Caroline ends up getting super depressed and drunk because Damon is still being an absolute ass to her. She just feels like she can't do anything right. She ends up just drunkenly spilling all her feelings and thoughts onto Matt, and then Matt offers to take her home because she's not doing so good. Matt ends up giving Caroline a ride, but also carrying her into her room, into her bed. Caroline asks him to stay, and so he does. He only stayed because she asked him to, and he did not take advantage of her in any way in her drunken state. Matt is a gentleman. Matt is a scholar. We love Matt. Additionally, Bonnie finds out that this crystal necklace thing that she has is called a talisman. Then she starts having some creepy dream experiences. She ends up walking in her sleep to the old cemetery and, you know, just waking up in the middle of the cemetery. And that leads us right into episode 9, where we see Bonnie having another night walking experience with this freaking crystal thing and waking up in the middle of a graveyard.
Please help me.
Who are you?
I'm Emily.
Bonnie's kind of going through something right now, if you hadn't noticed. We also introduce a new character in this episode.
Alaric Saltzman. It's a mouthful, I know.
Also known as Rick. And he is replacing Mr. Tanner, who was the asshole teacher that Damon killed. Yeah, since he got dead, the school hired Alaric as the new history teacher. Very important class. I think it's the only class at Mystic Falls High School. Mr. Tanner was pretty awful to Jeremy, treating him like a freaking delinquent, having absolutely no grace or holding any space for Jeremy to be struggling after his parents died. Apparently, Mr. Tanner had kept a whole file on Jeremy.
You know that your old teacher had a jackass file? It's just an opus to you.
And Alaric actually extends a hand to Jeremy, like, hey, I'm gonna give you a chance. I don't know if I agree with what this guy has to say about you. I want to make my own assessment. This guy? Chill as hell. Jeremy notices that Alaric is wearing kind of a weird ring, kind of like a weird bulky daylight ring looking thing. What that means, that's from Nathan for you.
What kind of experience do you have in this field?
What that means.
What that means.
Jenna is out with Jeremy at the grill when they run into Alaric. Jenna's immediately like, ooh, googly eyes, new history teacher. Alaric starts flirting with Jenna, and they talk about Logan, and they talk about Alaric's dead wife, which is fun. Alaric then walks Jenna home. She chooses not to invite him inside, and there's this whole thing where he's standing out there. Kind of seems like he might be a vampire. He didn't get invited in, and he's like, can't get in the house. It's a whole thing.
What that means.
Alaric, maybe vampire. Caroline and Matt have a little bit of progression in this storyline. Caroline gets mad at Matt for saying hi to her.
Hey. Do you have any other words in your vocabulary?
Apparently he just always says hi to her that way, but she never really noticed, and now she's mad because he kind of spent the night but then left in the morning before she woke up.
What's wrong with hey?
It reeks of awkward subtext.
Matt is super mature. Real talks Caroline is like, I don't know, I thought we were friends. He also mentions that he snuck out the window because he didn't want to get in trouble with the sheriff, who is, you know, Caroline's mother. It makes sense. Later that night, Matt comes over to Caroline's house again and sneaks in through the window, and he basically tells her that the reason he decided to stay the night was not because he likes her, has feelings for her, but because it was nice to not be alone for once. And this turns into a really sweet moment where they both can relate to each other about how lonely they both feel all the time. Then Matt and Caroline get snacks together and they hang out, and it's so cute. I love how this little relationship is developing between them. Damon and Stefan are having a weird petty fight all day long where they're like pretending to be each other.
How can I destroy Stefan's life this week?
That's just like you, Damon. Always have to have the last word.
They're just mad. They're just fighting. Stefan takes Damon out to play some football call, you know, try and reconnect as bros. Stefan starts up a conversation about Catherine and how Catherine compelled both him and Damon, trying to convince Damon that they need to get over Catherine, move on from this nonsense that she caused in their lives. Stefan brings up Catherine's crystal, the one that Bonnie now has, and Damon's all like, wait, how do you know that that was Catherine's crystal? It gets a little messy because Stefan was not supposed to know that was Catherine's crystal. Damon was positive that he was the last person to ever see Catherine, but since Stefan knew that that crystal was Catherine's, it means that Stefan was in fact the last person to see Catherine before she died. And that makes Damon like pretty mad, but also he's not too mad about it because he's all like,
I'm gonna bring her back.
Yeah, Catherine lore, Catherine details. Catherine is not in fact dead, she is still alive, locked in a tomb. Sick. So the night that Catherine supposedly died, Damon made a deal with Emily Bennett, who is Bonnie's witch ancestor, that if she could protect Catherine, he would protect her lineage forever. Damon has been protecting the Bennett witch line ever since he made this promise with Emily, and he's the reason that Bonnie is alive today. And this is how it worked, all right? Back in 1864, Mystic Falls was overrun with vampires. The townspeople essentially declared war against the vampires, began rounding up all the vampires using vervain and other methods, and ultimately trapped them all inside of this church. The plan was to put all the vampires in the church and light them on fire so they would all burn to death. And up until just now, that's what we've been told has happened, that all those vampires died in that church, which, by the way, I haven't mentioned this yet. Fire is another method in which you can kill a vampire. It's a little more tricky, but possible. Now, there is a tomb underneath this church, and thanks to Emily's little spell, the vampires were able to go into the tomb underneath the church and be protected from the fire. But part of this spell involved them having to be trapped in the tomb, sealed inside of it, if you will, until a day in the future when they can be released from the tomb. So those vampires are all still alive in there, they're just, you know, severely desiccated and not in good condition. And that crystal is a really key part of opening up the tomb again and letting all the vampires out, specifically Catherine. This is the big mysterious reason why Damon has been in Mystic Falls. It's because of Catherine. Damon harasses Bonnie again about the crystal, and she's just so done. She is so fed up with it. She is driving with Elena. They're talking about this crystal. She's like, dude, this crystal has been stressing me out. I've been having these weird nightmares. I've been sleepwalking. Damon's harassing me, and I'm done. Pulls over the car, pulls off her necklace, throws the necklace out into a field. And then they drive away. She's like, I'm done. We're just gonna have a good time now, okay? It's time for a girls' night. We're getting the trio back together, the besties. We've got Bonnie, Elena, and Caroline. A girls' night. Bonnie ends up telling Caroline that she threw the crystal away because it's haunted by a ghost. And then later, Caroline ends up finding the crystal in Bonnie's bag. And she's like, Bonnie, you lied to me.
Well, then explain it.
Emily?
Who's Emily?
The ghost?
The ghost has a name now.
Caroline suggests they should just try and do a seance to talk to whatever ghost is haunting them with this crystal. They do a little seance ritual, and this is one of the spookier sequences of the show. You know, kind of like ghost spooky, where the lights are flickering and doors are slamming. The girls are screaming because they're so scared of what's happening. And then Bonnie ends up getting possessed by Emily Bennett. Elena has called Stefan and Damon to come help. They all find Bonnie and figure out that Emily's possessing her. Emily, possessing Bonnie, ends up going back to that place in the woods where she keeps going. Damon starts talking to Emily like, hey, we had a freaking deal. What are you doing? And Emily's like, yeah, I know, but I really don't want these other vampires to get out of the tomb. I'm not gonna let all the vampires escape, so screw you. She uses witchy powers. She draws a little pentagram and then blows up the crystal. It's gone. Crystal destroyed. Damon is so mad, he lunges at Bonnie and starts attacking her. Like, he bites her neck and starts killing Bonnie. Stefan jumps in, pulls Damon off, and gives her vampire blood to save her life. Elena goes to Stefan being like, hey, I have to tell Bonnie the truth. And Stefan agrees. He thinks it's fine if Elena tells Bonnie about them being vampires, and Elena does. So now Elena has someone to talk to about vampire stuff other than Stefan. So So that's gonna be healthy for her, I think. And Damon tells Stefan that he was wrong about Catherine compelling both of them. He says that Catherine actually never compelled him, that Damon did everything with Catherine willingly, that he was all in without fear of her being a vampire. Damon was excited about all the vampire shit. He was into it, all right? Unlike Stefan, who was in fact compelled the whole time with Catherine. Throughout this, Elena has been considering whether or not she actually does want to be with Stefan, and at the end of this, she's like, you know what, Stefan, I figured out how I feel. I do want to be with you. I think we can work this out. We can do this. Now it's Stefan's turn to just can't, because Stefan, he can't, okay?
I can't. I have to leave, Elena.
Elena's really distressed. She's like, Stefan, don't go. And Stefan turns around, leaves, walks away. Oh, the drama.
Don't walk away, Stefan.
We then get our first very impressive music montage where we're shown a lot of really cool things as the episode is ending. It's very heavy, emotional, deep, all that. We watch Caroline and Matt eating snacks, having a nice time together. Jenna ripping up an old photo of Logan. You know, she's over it, all right? She's moved on from that scumbag. Damon is sitting at the graveyard acting super depressed because now he doesn't know how to get Catherine out of the freaking tomb. Depressed Damon, that's a new look we have not seen before. We then see Stefan having a major breakdown, an absolute fit of rage. He chucks his diary, so that's how you know it's serious. And then we see Elena talking to Bonnie and crying, telling Bonnie about vampires. And then someone rings the doorbell at Elena's house. Jenna answers, and it's Logan. Yeah, Logan, who's supposed to be dead. So there's a cliffhanger for you, bitches. What?
Aren't you gonna invite me in?
Episode 10, we pick up right where we left off with Logan at the front door, trying to get himself in the house, and Jenna, thank goodness, she's like, absolutely not. You are not entering this house. Fuck off, loser. Go away. Logan leaves and outside runs into a jogger lady who's like, oh my god, I know you from the news. You're Logan Fell, right? And he's like, yeah. And then he attacks her.
I'm scared half to death.
Because Logan is now a vampire?
I just freak out.
Damon in this episode is just being depressed, and it's actually super funny and silly, and I like depressed Damon. It's fun seeing him depressed. Stefan is planning on leaving Mystic Falls for good, getting out of Elena's life so that she can be safe from all this supernatural shit. And Damon is now daydreaming about traveling the world with Stefan, which is pretty funny as well.
We could try out for the Amazing Race.
Until Sheriff Forbes shows up at the door, so Liz is here to talk to Damon, and they go outside to step away from Stefan because he's too young to know about the vampires.
Stefan doesn't know about this yet.
Kids are too young to be brought into this.
Liz is basically like, hey, there's another vampire attack. We didn't get all the vampires, apparently. I guess Lexi died for nothing, which is awesome. But Liz, like, super trusts Damon because Damon's the only person who's ever killed a vampire, you know, and that she's seen. So she's like, Damon, please, you're the guy. I need you. This small town is in desperate need of your expertise. Damon ends up finding Logan hidden out in, like, a warehouse with a bunch of dead bodies stacked there. He's just been, like, on a murder spree, showing us more of kind of what we saw with Vicky, how baby vampires are a little bit unhinged, to say the least, especially with someone like Logan who hasn't had anyone teaching him how to be a vampire. He's just figuring this out on his own, and he is going wild, okay?
I keep killing.
Logan talks about how he's feeling overly emotional and he's feeling really drawn to Jenna.
All I could think about is my ex-girlfriend. I want to be with her and bite her and stuff.
Keep him away from Jenna, please. Jenna is a treasure, must be preserved. Now, today there is a career fair, and that's sort of the main focal point of this episode, is everything happening at this career fair. First, we're going to talk about the main plot line that happens here, which is with Logan, and Logan actually shows up, starts trying to harass Jenna, because he wants to bite her and stuff. When Stefan sees Logan, he goes into major protector mode. He gets Elena and Jenna out of the picture, and he pulls Logan aside. He's being really intense, but he's also not being overly emotional or angry. And I don't know, it just kind of, it's hot.
Don't ever threaten me.
again.
At the career fair, Caroline gets the idea that she wants to get into broadcast journalism. That is the career path she wants to pursue. So she sees Logan there and asks him if she can shadow him and learn more about broadcast journalism from him, the broadcast journalism boy. Logan offers to talk to Caroline and give her a ride home. She hops into the car with him. Matt sees her getting into the car with him, and then Logan smashes Caroline's head against the window, which is bad. Pretty intense move there, Yogi boy. Luckily, Matt did see her get in the car with Logan, so he's able to tell Elena and Stefan that Caroline went with Logan. Thank goodness, because Stefan and Damon are able to swoop in to the rescue to find Logan, stop the car. Stefan gets Caroline out of the car, books it out of there with her to get her to safety, and Damon stays there to deal with Logan. He's about to kill Logan, then Logan's like, okay, fine, I'll tell you everything I know. Apparently, Logan knows something about how to get into the tomb that Catherine is in, and that has something to do with him becoming a vampire. Damon is obviously very curious about that, so he has Logan pretend to beat him up, push him against the car, run away really fast, so that he can meet up with Logan later to discuss the details. Liz shows up and sees Damon getting attacked and Logan running away. He is really quick and good at deceiving people. Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, Sheriff. I just wasn't strong enough.
Later, we see Logan back at that warehouse area where he was camping out, and Alaric shows up, actually. Alaric had noticed that Logan was harassing Jenna, so he comes up to Logan to confront him, about being a dick or whatever. And Logan's like, oh, you have no idea what you're in for. Alaric just pulls out a stake and just stakes him in the freaking heart. So Logan really is dead now. He is no longer vampire. And apparently Alaric knows a thing or two about vampires as well. Later, Sheriff Liz finds the body of Logan and calls Damon and is like, thank you so much for killing the vampire. And Damon's like, what? Oh, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that. What happened? Another big plot that happens between Jeremy and Tyler. Jeremy sees that Tyler has some artwork displayed at the career fair, and he drew some kind of zombie guy, and Jeremy saw that because Jeremy likes to draw monsters too. So Jeremy sees Tyler's art and he's like, whoa, dude, no way, you draw stuff? I draw stuff too. And he's trying to relate to him, be friends with him, and Tyler's just being like, fuck off, bro, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. Don't be my friend. So instead of being art bros, Tyler is just an absolute dick, and Jeremy starts fighting with him. They start just going at it in the hallway, just fighting. Mayor Lockwood, Tyler's dad, sees them fighting, breaks up the fight, and is like, come on, let's take this outside. And then things get wild, just weird. Mayor Lockwood takes the boys outside and tries to force them to work it out like men, which basically means he wants them to fight each other, beat each other up, which is wild. He's getting really aggressive and weird, pushy. Luckily, Alaric comes outside and sees them and is like, hey, bro, what you doing? Alaric also is just so hot here for standing up against Daddy Lockwood. He calls him a full-grown alpha male douchebag, which is a very appropriate terminology in more ways than you would think.
You look like a full-grown alpha male douchebag.
But Alaric does out-alpha our alpha male Daddy Lockwood.
Don't talk to me like that. I can have your job like this.
How you do that? Then it'll be you and me in this parking lot, working things out.
You cool with that?
After the fight is broken up, Jeremy goes to Tyler and is like, dude, I did not know that your dad was like that. I am so sorry. That must be so hard. And Tyler just punches Jeremy in the face, and Jared's like, what? Dude, why are you like this? Really what he asks is, what's your problem? And Tyler responds, I don't know what my problem is, all moody.
I don't know, okay?
The shot when Tyler's like, I don't know what my problem is, it shows the moon, like a full moon in the background.
I don't know.
Gee, I wonder what Tyler's problem is. If you aren't picking up on the heavy werewolf vibes, allow me to pick them up for you. Look, we're getting werewolf vibes, okay? But we're just getting hints. That lore is yet to be explored. We're just laying some groundwork, okay? But yeah, Tyler's got a bit of a problem. Just tiny little bit of a problem. Stefan shows up at the career fair to approach Elena. When he does, she's like, oh my gosh, I didn't think I was gonna see you. I thought you were saying goodbye. And he's like, no, I'm here to tell you I'm not leaving because there's another vampire in town and I need to protect you. Elena gives Stefan a ride home. She's talking to him in the car and she's like, Stefan, I've been thinking about this and you know what? My life kind of sucks anyway. Like whether you're in my life and everybody's dying around me or you're not in my life sucks either way, so I might as well have you in it, is basically what she says. She's just buried in tragedy, apparently, and she's like, no, really, having immortal monsters eating and killing my friends, really, my life isn't that much worse than it was before. Let's be together, okay? Let's do it. I want to be with you. Stefan rejects Elena. He's like, nope, not doing this. Gets out of the car, starts walking out, and then Elena gets out of the car and is so dramatic. She goes, no. No. He is not allowed to set boundaries and walk away. In fact, that she loves him. That's her first time saying, I love you. And Stefan, upon hearing this, turns around really dramatically and kisses her face. So romantic. Wow. They go inside and they are making out, okay? Making out hard. And then Stefan starts getting his vampire face coming on. He turns away from her and he's like, I can't. Elena, I can't.
Elena, I can't.
And finally, for once, Elena says,
yes, you can.
Stefan turns around with his vampire eyes activated, which means he's in like hunting vampire mode. He is in bloodthirsty mode.
Don't hide from me.
Aww, you look like a demon. Basically, she's able to deactivate his vampire mode by kissing him and loving him. So guess what, ladies? Even if he is a bloodthirsty monster, you can change him with your love. Just remember that. Stefan and Elena continue making out. They go upstairs. They begin, explicit activities with one another. And no, don't get too excited. This is TV 14. Needless to say, Elena and Stefan are back together again. If you haven't noticed this pattern already, Stefan and Elena don't really ever get to have a full day together to just be okay, to just be happy. They don't really get that. After they get down and dirty, they're sitting cuddling, chilling in Stefan's room. Stefan gets up to go grab Elena a glass of water, and Elena decides to get up and start snooping around Stefan's room and happens to find the photo of Catherine just laying out in the open on his desk. Dude, what are you doing? Elena panics. She takes off the necklace Stefan gave her and puts it on the photo of Catherine and books it. She's out of there. Elena's then driving on the road, panicking, confused, and there's a vampire in the middle of the road, a guy we've never seen before, by the way, runs into him so badly it flips her car. We see her struggling upside down in her car, and she looks out the window and we see the vampire. He gets up unfazed and starts walking toward her. Then the episode ends because we love a cliffhanger in the Vampire Diaries. And you don't get to find out what happens until the next video. This is just part 1, baby. Initially, I was going to release this video all in one piece and sooner than this probably, but it's been quite the project, a bigger challenge than I had anticipated, and also, life happens sometimes, and you just don't get to edit as much as you'd like to. Anyway, subscribe if you want to be sexy and hot, and follow me on Instagram if you want to do that. I will post probably. Don't you worry, part 2 of the Vampire Diaries will be coming out pretty soon. Just give me like a couple more weeks, okay? I need some more time. Okay, love you, bye! Bye!